So I want you to try and picture someone in your head for a second. Let's say this person is pulling in a really solid salary, like $140,000 a year. They've got the gorgeous apartment, they're driving a brand new car, and they're jetting off on these incredible biannual vacations where you absolutely need a passport and a whole lot of sunscreen. You got that person pictured in your mind? Okay, good. Now, let me ask you a really direct, maybe slightly weird question. Is that person broke? I mean, your gut reaction is probably, no way, obviously not. But here is the crazy, totally counterintuitive truth. They probably are. And by the time we wrap up here today, you're going to see exactly why an impressive income has almost nothing to do with actual financial safety. Okay, let's dive into this. All right, to really get this, we kind of have to toss out our old definition of a word we literally use all the time. Just forget whatever number is sitting in your bank account right now. Being broke? It actually isn't about your balance. Broke is a physical distance. It's the space, the actual distance between where you're standing today and the next big emergency that could totally knock you off your feet. We're talking a massive car repair, a crazy medical bill, or, a surprise layoff. Some people have this huge, comfortable gap between them and the edge of the cliff. But others, they're standing with their toes right over the drop. And here's the kicker. That position has surprisingly little to do with what they actually earn. So here's the core problem, and it honestly trips up incredibly smart, successful people every single day. You'd logically think, right, that the more money you make, the wider that safety gap naturally gets. But for a massive chunk of high earners, the exact opposite happens. It's wild. Every single time they get a raise or a bonus, their lifestyle gets an upgrade right along with it. The apartment gets a bit nicer. The car gets newer. Those Friday dinners out become, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday dinners out. Basically, their expenses are sprinting up right behind their income. And this brilliantly illustrates how the math actually works against you beneath the surface. Let's say your income jumps from $80,000 to $140,000. Awesome, right? Pop the champagne. But wait, because you've upgraded your lifestyle, your baseline, those non-negotiable living expenses, just shot way up too. So a 4-month safety net that used to cost you $12,000 to fund, now you need $20,000 just to keep the exact same lights on. Your safety net is literally sprinting away from you at the exact same speed your paycheck is growing. You didn't actually get any safer. You just got exposed to the elements at a much higher altitude. Your actual distance from the edge never actually increased. Let's move on and see how this builds, because if just making more money doesn't automatically buy you that distance, how do you actually build it? Well, you need to systematically create 2 very distinct lines of defense between you and absolute financial ruin. They do totally different jobs, but you put them together and they act like an unbreakable shield. First up is line 1, the shock buffer. Think of this as a quick $1,000 shock absorber for life's immediate annoying little potholes, so you never have to reach for a high-interest credit card. Next is line 2, the runway. This is roughly 4 months of your essential, non-negotiable expenses like housing and groceries to protect you from any major income gaps or layoffs. Now, we really need to face an uncomfortable truth here. The reason so many incredibly successful people totally fail to build these 2 vital lines of defense, it's not because they don't make enough cash. It's because the trap isn't poverty, it's comfort. When you're making a great living, it feels so incredibly easy to justify why you absolutely deserve that premium gym membership or that newer SUV right now. Comfort essentially lulls high earners into this false sense of security, and it completely stops them from doing the mildly uncomfortable work of actually widening their gap. But hey, since we know exactly what the trap is, we can build a system to completely bypass it. The fix here isn't about feeling guilty or going on some super restrictive budget, not at all. It's a highly actionable, 2-part automated safety net system that patches this vulnerability for good. It's brilliantly simple, but you gotta commit to both steps. Step 1, you absolutely must automate a weekly transfer of 10% of your income, not monthly, weekly, and it has got to go into a high-yield savings account that is totally separate from your main bank. Basically, it should be just a little bit annoying to access. No quick one-tap transfers from your phone while you're standing in the checkout line at Best Buy, okay? Small, frequent transfers are psychologically so much easier to handle than trying to scrape together one massive chunk at the very end of the month. Now, what's really interesting about this rule is the psychology behind why automation totally crushes willpower. Human nature basically guarantees that our spending will always expand to magically consume whatever cash is left sitting in checking. We just proved that with the lifestyle inflation trap, right? If you wait until the end of the month to see, what's left over to save, I guarantee the answer is going to be 0. You have to flip the script. pay the gap first. Make sure that 10% leaves your account before you ever even see it, long before your brain can start rationalizing how to spend it. Which brings us to the second and arguably tougher rule: you have got to keep your essential costs flat. This is where so many people stumble. While you are in the trenches actively building your shock buffer and that runway, you literally cannot upgrade your lifestyle. If you get a raise or, say, a fat year-end bonus, every single penny of that new money goes toward building your gap, not toward an upgraded apartment. Look, you can absolutely enjoy those lifestyle bumps later, for sure, but only after your runway is fully funded and the concrete has completely dried. Let's run through a really concrete example to show you exactly how fast this math works in your favor. Let's say your take-home pay is $1,400 a week. 10% of that is $140 a week. You set up the automation so literally zero thinking is involved. Inside of just 8 weeks, boom, your $1,000 line one shock buffer is fully funded. It's done, out of the way. Then that exact same $140 just keeps flowing automatically, and it naturally overflows to start filling up line two. Assuming you kept your essentials flat like we talked about, your entire 4-month runway will be fully funded in roughly 14 to 18 months. But what happens when life inevitably throws a punch while you're in the middle of doing this? Let's say your car's transmission suddenly gives out and you're staring at an $800 repair bill. You don't panic, you just pull it from your line one buffer, no high-interest credit cards, no stress, no downward debt spiral. But here's the absolute magic of this system: it's self-healing. Because your 10% transfer is completely automated, it never stops. It just keeps quietly chugging along in the background, refilling that $800 over the next couple of weeks. The massive psychological payoff here is that you never ever have to make new, exhausting financial decisions while you're under stress. The system just fixes itself. So the crucial point is this: putting this system in place fundamentally separates the high earners who are secretly one bad month away from total disaster from the ones who quite literally never sweat emergencies at all. It forces you to focus on distance rather than just income. It takes willpower entirely out of the equation, and it ensures that your gap is always automatically widening instead of shrinking as your lifestyle inevitably creeps up. When you actually automate that 10% and you intentionally, ruthlessly hold your essential costs flat, you're doing something really profound. You aren't just getting comfortable. You are purposefully building an unbreakable foundation. You're bringing yourself to a place that most high earners are literally never going to reach in their entire lives. You become structurally impossible to be broke. And that's not by luck. That is entirely by design. So, I want to leave you with one final, really important thought as we wrap up this explainer. Take a hard look at your own life right now. Look at your own income and your actual baseline expenses. If a massive, totally unexpected emergency hit you tomorrow morning, what does your gap look like right now? Are you standing safely, comfortably far away? Or are your toes hanging right over the cliff's edge? It might be time to start building your distance.